Welcome back to the Seraphine podcast and my YouTube channel. We are talking all things Hills today, and I'm with my girl, Chelsea Atia. Hello, beauty.
Hi.
Hello.
We're back.
We are back, and we are in full effect with the next episode, which has the most awkward title ever, Time Heals Not Some Things. All right, so we go into this episode, and we are kind of, I don't know, it's like starting to wrap things up from the debacle that happened in Tahoe.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to me about like first hits with this. What were the things that really stood out in this episode for you?
Well, Heidi and Spencer were like obviously an integral part of this episode specifically. People say throughout this episode that loyalty is everything to them, and we know this. Brody spoke on it. He actually chose a side.
He did choose a side, but I still think Brody is the one who set the grenade of this whole thing in motion. Yes. I mean, there was tension with Ashley and with Jason between Heidi and Spencer, but it was really that little nugget of Spencer saying that he was relapsing that just catapulted. And then Brody goes, oh, but Spencer through and through.
Yeah. And I was glad though that afterwards, I know he totally like stirred the pot a little bit, but I think he might have regretted it. He's like, oh crap, because he said him and Spencer weren't friends for 15 years and he's just now getting back on. So he definitely chose a side there. And then Audrina, she also says like loyalty is everything with Heidi. So the fact that she didn't text her, ask her how she was doing afterwards, she's like, Heidi definitely took note of that. Which I think Audrina should have said something to her.
She should have done something. What I thought was the stupid excuse was she was blocked on social media.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you guys are really friends.
That's tit for tat.
It's so stupid. Just pick up the frickin' phone. And that's what Heidi wanted. I think what Heidi did was she tried to orchestrate a situation to force Audrina's hand to talk to her. And it didn't work because Audrina dug her heels in. Yeah. And then Audrina, to me, was a little passive aggressive with how she approaches Heidi at the Tiki Luau thing.
Totally.
It was so wimpy.
It was like, she said in her interview, you know, I'm over this, like, pushing stuff under the rug. You know, I'm going to confront you about it and we're going to talk about it. And I was like, okay, let's see how well this goes. And can we talk about Heidi's outfit though at the tiki party?
That talk about confronting. Yeah. Heidi is all about confrontation in her clothing.
She is. She is like
full boob salute, which I love her. I love her for her body positivity. Yes. But wow. It was a bikini top and it was the harem pants that were very tiki inspired, but they were split right up to the hip bone.
I saw like a clip of her and she like pulled them forward. It was just like being really naughty. I was like, Spencer, get your girl in check here.
Totally. It's funny though, because I think number one, she knows her audience. Yeah. She knows that we're going to be titillated. Excuse my pun. But then on top of it, you know, she goes into the tiki party like balls to the wall. Yeah. This is who I am. I'm having fun. And I think that's when we talk about on brand for Spencer and Heidi, it is champagne, have fun. Yeah. I give 2 Fs and we're loyal. Yep. I give totally crystals, total crystals. And then it's all about loyalty. I mean, that is their, if I was going to just put it all in one, and obviously, you know, parents of Gunner, but other than that, those are like the words that come to mind. The thing that was really telling in this episode though, and I appreciated the fact that Spencer and Heidi try to bring a authentic storyline as much as they can, because I know in these shows they really are trying to get into the storyline and what's the arcing storyline. Yeah. But for them to talk about their finances as honestly as they did, let's talk about
it. I loved it too.
Wow.
it was a really interesting situation because they're teammates, you know, through and through. And in this situation, you kind of saw like where they kind of differ in things. And Heidi is completely in control of the finances, and Spencer, I think, has a hard time saving. He spends beyond their means. I mean, we're talking $7,000 a month on groceries. I don't know if that's groceries
or alcohol.
Yeah. I don't know what that I don't know how you spend $7,000 on food a month, but I'm going to guess, you know, you said that they drink Dom and
and the Kobe beef burrito that he goes and, you know,
he probably spends all of his money at Erewhon. Erewhon is notorious for being overpriced, and he probably just goes there, which I also think that if they're behind in their finances, if they don't have money, why don't they sell their house? Their house is probably worth so much money. That view, it's in the hills.
You know, it's hard for me to listen because there are moments where I understand, like, kind of going into things of, well, I know what the money is coming in. I feel like we can spend this or that. It's when it's waste. And it sounds like the things that they're wasting on, number one, it's got to be like going to overpriced grocery stores.
Yeah.
It is the alcohol to the point
crystals.
of the crystals, that whole house.
I mean,
it's literally a crystal museum.
Like Spencer is literally addicted. I would like to know the story behind that. Like how did he get introduced to that? What is his thought process? You know, the part that kind of made me laugh, but not really, is like here Heidi is trying to talk about how they can, you know, stop his $2,000 a month personal training bill. And she's trying to like cut back on some finances, and he's making jokes, and she's like, okay, we're a team here.
Yeah.
And I liked that she said that. But also Spencer saying, you know, Heidi is in control of the finances and she likes to do it this way. But I'm like, if you manifest $1 million, you're going to be a millionaire. I'm like, nobody.
No,
let's come back to reality and get away from the crystals for 5 minutes.
I mean, he needs to take that energy that he's manifesting that money and putting a little bit more time. If he's meeting with a trainer 3 times a week for $160.
Yeah.
Spence, we got to see some results here.
Exactly. Like you can't spend $160 an hour for, and that was just an estimate that we came up with, $2,000 a month, 3 times a week, $166 a session. You can't just blow it all away and like eat, you know, tons and tons of food and drink everything. Like you gotta.
No.
That's expensive.
I mean, I guess they can, but then they end up in the hole, which totally sounds like now they're trying to come back from. And thank goodness that Heidi, you know, you could tell that
she's reeling it in.
She's reeling it in real fast. But it was cool to see that and to really, you know, and then you and I started to look up like what these people actually make per episode. Surprisingly, Audrina looks like she might be one of the top paid ones of like $150K per episode.
Yeah.
Audrina, but she's also promoting a lot of stuff too. I think every episode you see her with
Isn't that funny that they have the product placement. It cracks me up because it's so staged. But
yes, but you know, I mean, she's making that money, and I'm
totally
like, all right. So then we've got the Carolyn Caitlin storyline that just ended like way too perfectly, and now they're both dating guys. I really wanted to get behind this storyline, but I think when we saw the complete disconnect from Caitlin to Caroline after she told her how she felt, it almost felt weird because, you know, she came off that relationship with Miley, and I feel like maybe the producers approached her about having this kind of inclusive, you know,
totally,
you know, are you going to explore this side? You know, are you not? I think it meant well, but it didn't read true. And it was too neat with the bow on it, where they're like, now we're back and we're dating guys and everything's great.
Because they just have like a normal conversation besides Caroline talking about her new boyfriend and how they can be a throuple. I was like, Caitlin is giving you all the energy and nonverbal cues that this is not her thing. She's not interested. Leave out the throuple. Yeah. Call her like a third wheel.
Totally. It was weird. and then we end it there. I think we're not going to revisit that storyline.
I don't think so either.
The other storyline that was, I didn't think it was really necessary, but it was, we're seeing it going to be an unfolding in the next episode, is Audrina and Brody.
Yeah.
I was really starting to believe that this was a real sincere, like, dating, flirting thing. And then the next coming scenes are Brody brings these girls in and Audrina's like, what? I feel like Audrina needs to fight for a better storyline for her. I think
so too.
I think she's a smart woman.
Yeah.
I think that she is an educated woman. I mean, obviously she's making $150K per episode, but maybe that's why she's not speaking up about her storyline.
Exactly.
Maybe she's like,
it's worked for how many years now?
It is. And what is it? I mean, it is. It's kind of like the girl who's always getting, I don't know.
She's always with the bad boy that doesn't want to commit.
Yeah.
Emotionally unavailable.
I think we want more for her.
Yeah, we do. We want more for Audrina. She's trying to save someone, I think.
But she's like, I want more in my bank account, so I'm going to go with the storyline.
She needs to start a business or a product or something.
She does.
Like a bikini line. I feel like she'd kill it.
I think she had a bikini line there for a while, or at least like
something,
because I remember her wearing a ton of bikinis first
But
season.
You know what? Now is the time to do a bikini line. There's tons of that's like the thing to do.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Justin Bobby?
Please. Let's go on a high note here.
Yeah.
This was great. Way to go. Way to go, Justin.
Yeah, totally, you can really see the growth of this person, this man, from he's slowly changing from this bad boy, closed off, like emotionally unavailable person to being a little bit more vulnerable, more open to a relationship, not kind of running from everything. And the moment when he sees his dad after his dad has recovered from COVID and he just embraces him, like, this was the most genuine scene of The Hills in all the seasons.
Seriously, it was so lovely. And it really hit home to me because, you do think of your parents as invincible. Mm-hmm. You don't really think about them passing away until they reach illness.
Yeah.
And then I think on top of it, his dad was like this cool biker guy,
totally.
that like helped raise him in an interesting way. Cause it's not like he didn't have his bouts of trouble, but it sounds like he really respected his dad.
Yeah.
You don't really get any kind of, or at least he's mature enough not to bring it into the storyline.
Yeah.
You don't get any undertones of anger towards his dad. You see a really nice, mature relationship of a 40-year-old guy who is Justin with a dad who's probably in his, I would guess, 70s.
Yeah.
And again, I like to see, even though it's not as spicy and, sexy as a Brody and Audrina storyline, it's real.
This is the kind of storyline I love, and this is bringing more depth to the show.
Yeah,
it's not surface level; it means something, and I really think like his character is developing. Is developing so amazingly because it's giving him some we're invested in him now. He's talked about how he wants to find a wife and have kids, so we're like now, like, I feel like subconsciously we're looking for that for him. I think he's dating someone now, so hopefully that works out for him.
I hope so too, because it sounds like he's ready. I think MTV is having an interesting pivot with a lot of these shows that they started back in the 2000s. I mean, you can even see with like Jersey Shore and stuff like that. Their audience is older.
Totally.
So I think a lot of the storylines that may have played back when we were younger, they just don't resonate now because we're not in these situations. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't want to go after the bad boy that I went for in my 20s. I don't want to even know what he's up to. I don't care.
Exactly.
I care about, watching someone who may have been a bad boy who I know is growing up and is rethinking his decisions. Like that to me feels like TV that resonates as we get older. But I think when you're kind of in this, MTV's trying to do this, like, how do we stay youthful but not turn into VH1 kind of TV? It's hard. It's a hard pivot, to figure out how to do it. But I think they're doing it well with Justin. We end pretty much this episode with the tiki party.
Yeah.
And we watch a total meltdown with Brandon and Danny.
Yeah.
And I think that this meltdown really shows the difference between ages.
Yeah.
The stage 5 clinger vibe Brandon has with Danny right now, I'm like, whoa.
You know why he's acting this way?
Why do you think so?
Because she is playing hard to get. Guys cannot, especially at that age, 22.
Yeah.
If you play hard to get with a guy, they're going to want you 100 times more. So she's this beautiful model. Mm-hmm. I'm sure gets any guy she wants. And he forgot that when they first started dating. And I think he had a little bit of not extramarital, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he kind of like did his thing.
He's not the type of guy who I don't think he's not Mr. Loyalty. I think he is now.
I think he's now. Totally.
He is now. But unfortunately, he's got to give her some breathing room.
Yeah.
Or else, he's going to get in cringe mode real quickly.
He's getting there. Like in this episode, he has his movie premiere and he brings Danny, and in the car right there, she's talking about how she needed some space and stuff because he tried to get her to move in with him, but now she's got her own place. And then when they're parking there watching the movie, she's taking selfies, not paying attention, and he's like, I thought she'd be a little bit more jazzed for me. I would have been all about this for her. So I think that this is going to fade soon.
Yeah, I don't really see this being a long-term relationship. I think that after this blow up that he has at the tiki party, where he's screaming at the camera after, Danny has a problem because his past shows up. Some girls that, are hanging out with a girl who he hooked up with.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I didn't date her. And I love how logistics play in all the time with these young arguments of, oh, well, she wasn't my girlfriend. I'm like, well, if you still had sex with the girl, I'm sorry. I don't want to be in the same room with someone that,
totally
my boyfriend or husband hooked up with.
Yeah.
And then of course, he does the classic, like, well, I'm going to totally segue into something else and takes he has like a temper tantrum about it when really he just should have taken a breath.
He kind of panicked a little.
He did.
He was panicking, but we'll see. We'll see how this goes. It looks like it's not gonna last very much longer.
No.
But you know what? Hopefully he learns.
Yes.
And then can take this to his next relationship, because I really do think he's a good guy.
I do too.
I think he will be. He's 22. He's super
22.
young.
Yep. I think it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Thank you for watching. If you're seeing it on YouTube, if you like this, please click subscribe and like. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.